The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're interviewing one of our favorite actors from one of our favorite shows, Øystein Martinsen from Norseman.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
I'm so excited.
I know, me too. I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of geeking out right now.
Kadish gets writers and directors on the show, and we get somebody cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Alex told us that he was going to ask you to be on the show with us, none of us thought you would say yes. So thanks, and I hope that you don't feel like you made a giant mistake.
So far, it's good.
Okay. Good. All right. Welcome to the Salty Nerd Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. Today, we're going to be interviewing one of our favorite actors from the Norseman TV show on Netflix, Øystein Martinsen. And I'm joined, as always, by my panel of nerds and fellow fans, starting with Matt Vader. What's up, dude? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
You excited?
I'm excited.
I could tell. You're
I'm
all
cosplay.
Yes, you got the braids and the beard and everything.
Jude did me up good this morning.
I styled him.
So, yeah.
You're going full
You're
Orm.
like my little Barbie doll.
Oh, full arm. That's right. Yeah.
He is.
Yeah. How's your ass sickle?
It's
Okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Also joined by our shield maiden, Jude. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm very excited.
You look very excited. And last but not least, producer of the show, Matthew Kadish.
I feel very underdressed for this interview.
I know, me too. I
I
didn't.
feel like I needed to get my deerskin cape or something.
Well, it's because you're on the not cool side of the table.
And of course, the man of the hour, Øystein. Welcome to the podcast, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to talk with you.
Thank you. It's very nice to be invited.
All right, let's get right into this. My first question, and I wanted to kind of go all the way back to the beginning. I wanted to hear the story about how you got involved with this amazing TV show. Is it something that you specifically auditioned for the part that you got, or was it a general audition, like you could have been a Viking, but they decided to put you somewhere else? How did that all go down?
I think actually I was cast quite late in the process because a lot of the other actors have worked with the directors before because the directors run a kind of sound studio in Oslo where they do commercials and stuff. So they knew a lot of the other actors, but they hadn't cast the part of Kark yet. And they kind of cast a wide net. And I was asked to do a self-tape for that and just sent in the first scene when I'm going to get beheaded. And I thought, this sounds good. And they liked it.
That's awesome. That was one of the funnier things when you first get introduced to the character and you see him go through, like, they're chopping heads off of people and he's like next in line, and you played it so straight. You're just sitting there like, oh man, next time maybe make a note that we don't have to do this.
Yeah, you're such a good sport about everything on this show.
Are you sure 2 subhumans isn't enough?
I actually wanted to ask a question about, like, when you came on board with the show, did you know from the beginning, for spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched the show, it turns out you are the rightful chieftain, but you have been sold into slavery. Did you know from the beginning, like, who your parentage was? Or did you find out, like, when we found out?
No, I when I got the script for
Okay.
season, I think I got a hint from the writer directors that, like, there's you're not who you think you are.
Oh, nice.
It's such a funny episode.
That's cool.
I think that's
And kind of heartbreaking too.
Yeah. That's one of the things I always love about this show too, is no matter how humorous it can be, there's a lot of really dark undertones to the show that, like, punctuate it very powerfully.
Male pattern baldness.
Male pattern baldness has created a supervillain. Vader, you were going to say something?
No, I was just thinking, down the road, if, I don't know if there's any talk of a season 4 or whatever. I mean, I don't know. But I think exploring your character and him becoming chieftain would be a great arc for future episodes of the show.
I actually have a really good name for season 4. I would like it to be called The Rise of Kark.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is how because Kark is kind of up for anything, even though it kills him. But if he was put in a position of power, how would he react? I don't know. That's kind of exciting.
That would be a lot of fun to see.
The negative stuff
that
he's been suppressing for 18 years.
Yeah.
So can I ask there? We were all very upset when we heard that Netflix wasn't going to be doing a season 4 of the show. How did you guys find out about that decision, and what was the general reaction amongst the cast?
Well, I think we just got an email from the producer that we weren't going to continue, but we were all quite sad because we fall in love with the characters and we love doing the show, and it's kind of it's not work being in Norseman. It's just fun. It's like camp.
Yeah.
So I think we all would love to continue and explore more.
My question to piggyback on that was if the show writers or show creators are happy with where things ended, did they feel like it ended in a good spot, or do they feel like, gosh, there's just so much more to tell?
No, I think there's more to tell. I think they have plans. They wouldn't start from scratch if somebody decided to give us money for a season 4. So
yeah, I think we're all hoping that happens.
I'd
we
watch
don't
it.
have any money to give you, or we would already have done it.
Started Indiegogo. I bet you get a lot of people. So you kind of mentioned that like being on set is kind of like being at camp, and it was more fun than it was work. There's so much chemistry between the characters in the show. How much of that was like a scripted, all the lines are written, or do you guys do a lot of ad lib and kind of play off of each other during the scenes?
Well, not really, because we do rehearsals the night before for every scene.
Okay.
So kind of the improvisation takes place the night before.
Okay.
So we kind of the writer-directors, we do the script, and then we do maybe try to add something, and they decide what they want to add. And on the day, it's more or less scripted.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's actually kind of surprising. I thought, just because of how well everybody kind of feeds off of each other, I totally thought like you guys were just ad-libbing most of your lines and just having a good time.
And I got it. And you guys film all your scenes in English and in Norwegian, right? Is that something I heard?
For all 3
That
seasons
is-
you did that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the idea is that there. I don't know if it's probably some ambition behind it, because there are remakes of European shows, but I think the producer thought that what if we don't want a remake, we would want the show
Yeah.
to go out internationally, so let's try this. It's not really been done before.
That's amazing.
Because-
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the show's charm that it's not dubbed over or
Yeah.
You don't have to read subtitles
Right.
for the American
Right.
audiences or for the English
and
audiences.
personally, I really like your accents. To us, their accents, and
Same.
I just
Yeah.
love it. It just adds to the whole overall charm of the show to me.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's quite an unknown accent, because you have the German accents, which are
Yeah.
kind of pop culture, and Russian accents, because you've seen that a lot in movies. But the Norwegian accent is just like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's like I think I like it because I listen to a lot of heavy metal music from over there. So I hear the guys on the stage on the shows and stuff, and it's the same accent. It's kind of cool to me. I like
Yeah,
it.
I do agree. It totally adds to the charm of the show and to the characters and stuff. But I have to commend you guys. That's an incredible undertaking to have to do each scene over and over again. Does that get frustrating when you're on set and you have to do things in 2 different languages? Like, how does that work logistically while you're out there?
Well, I think we got used to it. In the beginning, my first day was the first day of the shoot, season 1, and it was kind of the directors and the crew were like, oh, the actors have to speak English. It's going to be embarrassing for them. So we had this rule that the crew and the directors had to speak English when we did the English.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's cool.
That's neat.
That's
kind of
great.
to ease into it. But
And it
that
kinda-
lasted for a week.
I would imagine it would make everybody feel like we're all team players. It's like a bonding experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get quite self-conscious when you have to speak English.
Well, you guys do
And-
great.
Yeah.
You guys do fantastic. When I heard that you guys did the show in 2 different languages, I almost didn't believe it, because I just couldn't understand how that would make sense. Like, you would have to spend twice as much time resetting all the sets and redoing all your lines and everything. And then if the actors don't actually know how to speak English, they would have to learn all their lines. It seems like such a huge undertaking. That's
Yeah.
really amazing. I have to absolutely, that makes the show so much better.
Kudos.
Yeah.
I have a question
Yeah, go ahead,
about your character, and I just kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about what you think would happen. So I have this scene in my head. So when Orm is a slave with you, he's really trying to like buddy up with you and be your friend. I wondered if he knew who you really were, do you think that he would also try to kill you?
Well, I'm not. I don't want to insult Cody who plays Orm, but yes, I think he would.
Okay, yeah, me too.
in a heartbeat.
So I have a quick question about the process, because you mentioned that you guys rehearsed the scenes the night before. Was there ever anything that happened in rehearsals where you guys went off script and found something that was absolutely hilarious, more funny than what was written down originally, and actually made it into the show?
Yeah, I think I can't really think of any examples, but there were things, because the writers are also the directors, and they're quite good. So I mean, the scripted stuff it's very good, but sometimes you start riffing on some small lines or a line of dialogue or a couple of lines that they kind of laugh at and approve. So there are things, I guess, not much, but 10% maybe that's tweaked in rehearsals.
So on that train of thought of like coming up with funnier things while you're in rehearsal and stuff, I always find it difficult to believe that actors can say some of these lines with a straight face without like cracking up laughing. Is there a lot of like having to redo takes? Was there a lot of blooper reels? Is there a blooper reel out there somewhere?
God, I would love that
we could watch, because I would love to see that.
I don't know if there's a reel, but there are definitely days where people cracked up. I mean, we lost an hour or two just
laughing.
Laughter.
Oh, I can imagine.
And you can get stuck just doing the same thing over and over again, because maybe one of the people in the background starts laughing, and then you can't use the take. So it's I think there's a lot of that.
Vader, you're not allowed to be an extra on the show.
Yeah, seriously, that happens to us a lot, and it's usually his fault.
We were kind of joking, like when we first started watching the show, because Vader kind of fits the bill. He's got the beard. He loves having the long blonde hair with the braids and stuff. But we're like, he would fit so perfectly as just like a background extra. It was one of those things where I'm like, man, if we could make that happen, that would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he'd be on the shitting log in the background.
Yeah. So my next question has to do with kind of the culture in your area as a Norwegian actor. Do you guys take a particular amount of pride in making this show because it has so much to do with your local culture and stuff like that? Do you guys kind of have a certain feeling about making the show in that way?
Yeah, I mean, we do make fun of our heritage, I guess, but a lot of the extras in the show are kind of Viking enthusiasts who sew their own costumes and make their own weapons, and these kind of groups of people that travel to the set and stay there and work as extras for the whole season.
Awesome.
The whole village is populated by kind of these Viking enthusiasts.
I need to find these people.
It reminds me of the Civil War reenactors we have down south.
Down south.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. So that's actually a perfect segue to my next question is the sets seem surprisingly accurate to me as just some dumb American kid watching this TV show. Do you guys take a lot of time in kind of like designing historically accurate sets or costumes, or are you guys kind of playing fast and loose with that stuff?
No, the thing is, the 2 first seasons are actually shot in kind of a Viking museum where they've built a village, which it's used for kind of groups and tourists.
That's awesome.
So the sets were kind of already there, and it was cheaper to fly everyone in the cast over there and the crew over there and do it there than build sets in Oslo.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
That's
it's
cool.
kind of an authentic Viking village.
I was right.
You guys are so cool.
I know. I was like, man, I hope I don't sound stupid asking this question, but I don't know. So no, that's really
No, they're
awesome.
quite accurate, and I think filming inside was hell because I mean it's so cramped.
Yeah.
So the lighting guys just had one little lamp and the camera. You're not supposed to film in those Viking houses.
Oh yeah. That kind of brings up another question is like, do you, if there's any damage, do you guys get in trouble if like something breaks in the museum or something?
Well, I guess so, but that's I'm not involved in that.
Okay.
I have no knowledge of anything ever having been broken.
Nothing broke, we promise.
I just work here, man.
I've never even heard of the Salty Nerds.
That's awesome. Anybody else have anything? Oh, go ahead, Jude. Yeah.
Ken, I'm sorry I'm asking so many questions about your character Kark and not like about you. But what I know of you is your character Karks, and I was just wondering, who do you think, if he was put in a position of power or had the opportunity, who do you think he would choose to challenge to a holmgang?
I don't think Kark has it in it to challenge anyone. I guess he's available to be challenged at all times. I think that's the way he'd do it. I think
Maybe
the problem is as a chieftain, he'd be available to anyone, and anyone's suggestion goes.
Yeah, I could see him giving a speech where he's like, "If anyone wants to holmgang me, like, I'm available between these
I can
times."
totally see that. I was wondering if he would
love
like
for-
challenge someone to a holmgang, like maybe for some human food.
I think Kark enjoys being a subhuman slave too much.
Yeah,
It's great cardio.
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
The one thing that always really struck me is that the episode where I can't remember the Roman character, I can't remember his name, but
Rufus?
Rufus, when he wakes up and he's getting
Pissed on.
by these two Vikings, and Kark's just like, oh, that's just good Viking fun, man. It was so gross. I was like, oh my gosh.
I wanted to know, was there a specific member of the cast that you really enjoyed, doing scenes with, like playing off of?
Yeah, well, I actually, everybody's kind of partnered up with people, but I'm kind of a free agent. I'm just roaming the village and being punished. But I did have a lot of fun with Kåre, who plays Orm, because the kind of the storyline where he's trying to be my friend and and I want to be his friend, but I won't be very popular with the other slaves if I hang with him. So.
What a heartbreak is in store for that when he finds out who you are.
Yeah.
He's gonna feel very betrayed.
Do you have a particular episode of the show that is your personal favorite that you just love going back to or love reminiscing about?
Yeah, it's kind of when we shoot it, it's so fragmented because we don't shoot chronologically. So the first day was the second episode, and then it's the sixth episode, and then it's the fourth. So kind of my memories are more it's more fragmented than that. But it's more single scenes that was a good day, or well, that was a horrible day because it was -3 degrees. And
tell us about your best and worst day on set.
Well, the worst day, I guess, is season three when I ate the mushroom.
Was that a real mushroom?
Yes, it was.
Oh no.
And the props guy was like, I've been on the internet and it's probably safe to eat.
Oh no!
So you might get a little.
No!
So that was there's no acting involved in my eating that. It's a genuine horrible reaction.
Please tell me that was just one take you had to do.
Yep.
Okay, good.
So are they really like hardcore about safety and stuff on the set? Because I know like the very first scene we ever see you in episode 1, you're on top of that big giant cliff with the old guys.
Trying to convince them to commit suicide.
It's like I can see them upset. Okay, don't get too close to the edge. Is that what it was? It's like, don't get too close to the edge.
Yeah, that's kind of a tourist attraction in Norway, the place where we filmed it. It's a lot of kids and families and stuff, so it's quite safe. It looks worse than it is.
Okay.
but there was always, I mean, there's always a focus on safety, and every time I got beat up or whipped or anything, I felt very safe.
Oh.
You got a brand on your butt or something?
Yeah, that was a smoke machine.
That's good. No sizzling flesh. All right. So, so your favorite memory or your best day on set, what would that look like?
Well, I mean, I remember just it's not really something we filmed, but I don't remember which scene we filmed. But there was this day the weather was fantastic. I was just looking out over the set, and it was like the sun was shining and everything was just beautiful. And I was like, damn, this is a good job.
That's awesome.
Are you? Do you and the rest of the cast members keep in touch? Are you friends with these guys, or is it just a thing? Are you just work acquaintances, or?
No, a few of us knew each other from before, and we meet up sometimes if we're in the same city, and
Good.
And we have this it's we see each other from time to time.
That's good.
And but I don't live in the same city. Most of them live in Oslo. I live in Stavanger. So.
Okay.
How far away is that from them? Like we're not really familiar with the cities in Norway, so.
No, I know. No, it's a 40-minute flight.
Oh, okay. Right on. Cool. Okay, so I think I asked you what your favorite scene was already. Jude, go ahead.
I was just wondering if like you and the other cast members, if like is this what you're known for? Like, do people like you walking down the street and people are like, hey, it's Kark? Like, do people do that to you? Like, is this what you're most known for?
Yes, for me, yeah, I am. No, because I work a lot in the theater. I've been in the theater for 15 years. So, and I've done a few TV things, but this is kind of the biggest character I've done.
Do you get mobbed?
So that's kind of, no, not really. There's the odd selfie of drunk people.
In my head, people in Norway are way too chill.
Yeah.
To be mobbing Kark on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more like down on the strip. I work in the casinos, so I see a lot of famous people down there, But people mostly leave them alone when they're down there gambling and stuff, So I kind of feel like it's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, man, they just
in Norway. It's not like the kind of celebrity. It's a bit of a celebrity culture, but not much. If the famous actors can walk quite peacefully on the street, and people are like, oh, this famous guy, I'm not going to say hello to him because then you get.
Well, what's crazy to me is like I've seen pictures of all the cast members when they're not in costume, and you can't really tell.
That's true.
A lot of ways. I mean, you look just like Kark, but the guy who plays Arvid, I would never recognize him if he walked by me on the sidewalk. You know what I mean?
No.
So
because he's got a lot of
and
hair and stuff. But no, but a couple like Autumn, he's kind of a very famous Norwegian actor, and then a couple of the other guys are established actors in Norway. So.
Are you surprised at how successful the show's been in the States? Like, there are a lot of people who just went crazy over the show out here.
We certainly did.
Yeah, but it's kind of strange because you kind of we know there are fans all around the world. I think it's a small but hardcore fan base for this show.
Yeah,
it hasn't crossed over into any.
So we've been really trying to push the show because you turn Netflix on and it's right there.
Yeah,
watch this show. It's like watch the show, people. This is the best thing on Netflix right now. It really is.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it is probably the best comedy on Netflix at the moment. It's right up there. Like I'm a big fan of like Parks and Recreation and The Office, and both of those have been removed off of Netflix recently. And I'm like, I feel like Norseman kind of took that spot, and I was so hoping for more seasons because I was like, this is the perfect show to dive into to fill the shoes of these other shows that are no longer.
The crazy thing about the show is like it's got some real heavy Game of Thrones political intrigue.
Yeah.
But it's almost satirical in the way that it's presented, but it's like hardcore. Like reminds me a lot of the History Channel's Vikings, but like almost a lighter version. I don't even know if that's the right way to describe it.
Yeah,
but they do a lot of research. The writers, I mean, it's quite accurate historically, but it's silly.
It's like a lot of people say Norseman is kind of like Vikings from the History Channel meets The Office.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I think I like to describe it to people who haven't seen it. So,
Yeah.
And usually, like when we watch movies or shows or something, we usually will pick something apart, and we had nothing bad to say about it. There was nothing any of us didn't like about it, which is rare.
Yeah.
Like usually we're like, yeah, it's really fun, but we love this show.
Yeah.
Really upset that there's not a season 4 that we can just completely
Binge.
devour.
I would binge it. I just got done rewatching all 3 seasons in preparation for this interview, and I was like, oh man, I freaking love this show.
Me too.
And that kind of brings up. I just thought of another question. Just like culturally, because there's a lot of really dark humor in the show, as far as like making fun of rape and all this other crazy stuff. And I'm like, did you guys worry at all with like the modern take on PC culture and stuff? Did you guys worry at all that maybe some of these things might go a little too far, but you did it anyway?
Yeah, I think, I mean, times, I would say times have changed since even the first season came out.
I agree.
But still, I guess there are some things in the show that are quite dark.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, context has something to do with it. I mean,
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
There are jokes that maybe go too far, and there are jokes that I think are, because they're funny and they're smartly written.
Yeah.
I mean, when Freya's sitting there telling Orm how she rapes people with the ass rape or the face, what are they, face rape
the
or whatever.
face rape,
It's so good.
It's one of my
I'm like,
favorite
oh
scenes.
my God.
It's so funny, and we always crack jokes about the scene where the lady who's like really power hungry and like
Liv.
she's attracted to like power hungry men. When the Jarl comes and threatens to rape her, she's all into it. We die laughing every time, but I'm like, I wonder if it's just because we have such a weird sense of humor that we think it's funny, and I don't know what my mom would think of that joke. But
I think my mom would think it was funny.
But I just love this. I love the fact that the show has the galls to go that far and make those jokes, because I think it's important to kind of push the limit a little bit.
I do too.
I think that makes comedy really stick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big discussion, and it's a difficult discussion, because I mean, you want to kind of you don't want to just be shocking, but I don't think Norseman is kind of just the shock value. It's smartly written, and
It is.
it's kind of and it's kind of innocent too. The characters are kind of evil and still innocent.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Like the
very first scene with the chieftain and Arvid after he punches Rufus in the face on the boat. It's like, oh, did I do that a little bit too hard? It's not really in my character, you know. And Arvid's like, no, well, you gotta be a little crazy sometimes. It's all right, you know. So
Just doing the Viking thing, but
yeah. It's very self-aware, which kind of
Yeah.
adds a nice element to it. It's a lot of fun. There was one scene that always kind of shocked me, because I did not see it coming, is when Arvid challenged the farmer to the Holmgang.
Homecoming, yeah.
And they go to fight, and I was expecting some kind of a drawn out little battle, and Art just cuts the dude straight in half, and it's like right there in plain view. And I was like, oh my God.
And I love that they brought that actor back to play his twin brother.
yeah, that's a good trope.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's it's kind of a strange hybrid show, because I mean, they're innocent and it's funny and it's light, but still you get to see a guy chopped in half.
Yeah. Like a perfect example of that's one of my favorite scenes, where Jarl Varg has his men come to him and they're like, yeah, can we like lay off on the raping, because we have wives and daughters and we don't think it's cool. And then like he just has them all like murdered, you know, because they didn't want to rape people.
In my head, back to the Holmgang scene when Arvid cut him in half, it was Kark is the one that had to clean up the two halves of the guts and the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Were you on set when they filmed that? I'm assuming you were. I was like, how did they make that work? Was it a dummy? It was already cut in half? Was it just clever editing?
I think it's CGI.
CGI.
Oh, no way.
I think there's some CGI. So, I mean, I'm not sure, but I think the cuts are kind of the guy and some CGI and then a dummy, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Cool.
I guess most of the budget went to make that CGI.
Most of the budget went to cutting the guy in half.
No human food that day.
Well, it fooled me, so I guess job well done.
Well, I was wondering, what are you working on now? Like, what's your what's next for you in terms of like TV shows, movies, whatnot?
Yeah, well, I've had kind of a good lockdown because the Norwegian film business and TV business has continued more or less undisturbed with testing and everything. So I've actually managed to do a movie and a TV show.
Oh wow!
Awesome. Where can we find that, or how can we support you and check that movie out?
It's not out yet. It's,
okay.
I think it opens in Norway on 10th of September.
So we should go there?
Yeah. So we should fly to Norway?
Okay.
That's the easiest way to see it.
What's the movie called and what's it about?
It's called Nothing to Laugh About. It's written by one of Norway's. He's kind of an actor comedian. He wrote a script where he's this comedian who on the same day loses his big job in a kind of the big gig he was preparing for. And he gets a cancer diagnosis, and his girlfriend dumps him on the same day.
My goodness.
Sounds hilarious.
I play his best friend. Yeah. It's nothing to laugh about. So, I mean.
Yeah. Is it a comedy, like a dark comedy, kind of like Norseman, where you have these really dark elements, but it's punctuated with some comedy to it? Or is it just played straight?
No, it's kind of I have seen it, and I was like, cancer jokes are, I don't know. But it's,
listen, if it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah, but it's kind of more of a kind of a dramedy more. And
okay.
It's quite emotional actually. So.
All right.
And you said you were working on a TV show as well?
Yeah, it's the second season of a Norwegian show called State of Happiness, which explores the oil boom in Norway in the 60s and 70s. So.
Oh, okay. So it's more like a period piece.
Yeah,
you would love that, Kadish. I'm surprised you're not looking it up right now.
So I have a friend who's in Norway, and I wanted to ask you this because I have a hard time believing it. But is frozen pizza like a big thing over there?
Yes, it is.
Really?
It's so big.
What?
That's so funny.
Kind of. It's. I mean, there on the supermarkets, there's this whole parts of a freezer with
just frozen pizzas.
Frozen pizzas, frozen, and none of them are actually any good.
Yeah.
But I just hear it's like super popular over there. Like people just eat frozen pizza all the time.
Well,
because it's kind of, it doesn't taste anything, and it's easy. And in Norway also, tacos is big. I think we're in second after Mexico in eating tacos.
Well, I love tacos.
We all love tacos.
Yeah. You want to get some good tacos, come down to Vegas. We'll take you to dinner. We'll take you to get some tacos.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah. Do you ever travel around for any of the cons or anything?
No, because we are actually, there's a panel on Comic-Con now on the 25th of July.
I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah, which we did with a guy called Henry Hurst, who interviewed us a couple of weeks ago. But I would prefer to go to San Diego, but we had to do it online.
Do you think doing interviews like this on our small show and the Comic-Con panel and that kind of thing, if the word gets out that people want a season 4, do you think there's any chance at all of that ever happening?
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't do any harm. I mean, if there's a demand, the show had great ratings in Norway, but I'm not sure Netflix doesn't really give out their ratings, I guess.
Okay.
So we don't know how successful it is.
Well,
somebody knows, but I don't.
Netflix, you can consider this our demand for season 4.
Well, wasn't the first season of the show was financed by the Norwegian government, wasn't it?
Yeah, most of it was the Norwegian broadcasting company. They and Netflix combined finance it. So and in Norway, the Norwegian broadcasting company owns the Norwegian version, and Netflix has the English version.
So Netflix has the English speaking version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right on. Because I had heard that one of the writers or producers of the show, like he invested like $50,000 of his own money in Facebook advertising for the first season, and that's kind of what put the show on the map in terms of like people becoming aware of it, watching it on Netflix, and Netflix being like, oh, like there's a lot of interest in this show. So I'm wondering if we can do like maybe like a grassroots Netflix Facebook campaign or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
tell everybody to get an OnlyFans.
A Viking OnlyFans?
Yes.
That would probably do surprisingly well.
I think so.
maybe.
I'd check it out.
I would check it out. I might too. All right. I'm kind of all out of questions. I feel like I've interviewed or interrogated you enough. I just really appreciate the fact that you came on and hung out with us lowly nerds.
No, it's my pleasure.
And is there anything else that you would like to mention to our listeners, or any kind of work that you want to shout out or anything like that?
No, I mean, it's been a blast. I'm glad you invited. I mean, that's a good thing about Twitter, I guess.
Yeah. Just one.
Distances are shorter.
Yeah, I was a 50-50 chance. I'm like, either he's going to ignore me or he'll answer me. And I was like, yes. No, it was really awesome. Where can they, for people who want to, where can they follow you on Twitter?
I'm not really sure what I'm not a big social media guy. But, I think it's Øystein Martins.
Okay.
At Twitter.
All right, we'll put it in the description underneath the video when we put it out there. And Vader, do you have any last thoughts or any?
I just want to say thank you for hanging out with us a little bit today. We're all big fans. I'm a huge fan. I'm sorry if I'm insulting you with my cultural appropriation. And this is kind of what we do around here. We just could have a lot of fun. And thanks again, man. I'm a huge fan, and this is really cool to be able to talk to somebody who was on this show.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Jude?
Yeah, I want to reiterate what Vader just said and just say thanks so much for agreeing to do this. And I don't know how inappropriate it is for me to say this, but I was telling the guys earlier, like, I was so excited for this interview. I felt like Liv when she was about to get raped by Yarvar. So thanks.
We have a dark sense of humor as well. Kadish, you got anything last to say?
I too felt like Liv. Thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us some insight into Norsemen. It really is a fantastic series, and like we talk about it all the time.
We really do,
and kind of compare it like when we're watching other stuff that's not as good. We'll say like
it's no Norseman.
Yeah, just throwing that joke, but. I also find Norway very fascinating, and the entertainment industry out there. So thank you so much for coming on and giving us some insight into it.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for the interview. Thank you guys for joining us on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment below what you think of the show Norsemen. And if you haven't watched it, trust us, it's freaking awesome. Go watch the show. Vader, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me at I can't talk. You can find me at Matt Bader 74 on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and the other stuff that's out there.
And you have a new TikTok channel now.
I do.
Oh
I'm on TikTok now. I got to learn how to TikTok.
And Jude, where can they find you at?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And Matthew Kadish?
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com will take you to my Amazon page.
And you guys can catch me on our Discord server. Go to saltynerddiscord.com. I hang out in the chat all the time. We talk movies, nerd stuff. I'm going to set up a chat for Norsemen just in case somebody wants to hop in there and talk about the show and have a good time. saltynerddiscord.com. All right, guys, signing off. Stay salty, my friends.